What is Node.js? Defined by its documentation, Node.js is an asynchronous, event-driven JavaScript runtime designed to build scalable network applications. That statement comes with more than a few loaded terms, so let's unpack that bit by bit. Let's start with the fact that it's designed to build scalable network applications. Well, what is a network applications? First of all, let's explore what we mean when we say application. An application is a computer program with an interface, such as an interactive display for the user to accomplish tasks like word processing or making spreadsheets. Applications that come to mind are Microsoft Word or a code editor like Sublime. These applications are standalone, meaning we edit data locally and store it in the same computer. Now let's distinguish this from the concept of a network application. Network applications use a client-server architecture, which at a bird's eye view means there can be two or more computers involved in handling data. The client, usually a desktop, laptop, or now mobile devices like an iPhone, access the services of the web server. The server, a computer itself, is hosted somewhere else, often within a large data center. The much more powerful server computer handles heavy jobs like managing a large number of files or other processes. Then the client runs applications that rely on these powerful servers for resources and their processing power. A fitting example for this client-server architecture model is a web browser. Google Chrome runs a web client program to allow you to access the internet. And when you make requests to the server with actions like Google search, their web servers run programs in a data center to retrieve the information to display to you. So in summary, Node is designed to build network applications. And a network application is one that uses a client-server architecture, where a client computer runs an application that sends and receives data to be processed by a server. Now let's dive into the idea that Node.js is an asynchronous, event-driven JavaScript runtime. Let's start with defining a runtime. Node.js is a runtime, which means that this kind of program executes instructions while the program is running, even those that we did not write explicitly or know beforehand. Let's think of this in terms of Node creating our network application through a program. By acting as the server, Node will start the server program, and throughout that server's runtime, it may receive instructions from a client to process files or retrieve information from stored locations. These instructions aren't exactly known when the program starts, but they can happen at any time. Finally, when we say JavaScript runtime, we mean that Node.js is a runtime implemented in JavaScript code. This leads us to the idea of Node being event-driven. In the event-driven model, a program follows a flow of events determined by a user. Again, Node through its runtime performs different actions in the program depending on the events submitted by the user, such as requesting for backend resources, processing some file data sent by the user, and more. These events can happen in any order, so the flow of Node is driven by these events. Finally, we get to the last part, the first adjective. Node is asynchronous. In terms of sheer computer science, an asynchronous program will allow operations to continue simultaneously, meaning while an operation is executing, it can start new ones without blocking the old operation. Perhaps it will help to distinguish an asynchronous program from a synchronous one. In a synchronous application, on the other hand, the handling of operations is sequential. Everything gets streamlined, and things occur one after another in a direct order. This makes a program simpler in terms of a step-by-step process. But if the application wants to do more than one thing, it has to block the next operation until the current one finishes. Let's go back to our server example. In a synchronous system, let's say the server is currently processing a huge amount of data that is taking 2 whole minutes to complete. A new request comes in to grab information and retrieve a small file with just a couple lines of information in it. This process takes 2 seconds. But the 2-second data retrieval needs to wait until the whole 2-minute data processing completes in order to occur. In an asynchronous application, this data retrieval can happen while that other data is being processed. This gives the client server much more power, as it can put heavy operations in the background and still provide the client with a fast and reliable service. Alright, with the idea of an asynchronous application down, we've now fully unpacked our starting definition of Node.js. In summary, Node.js is an asynchronous application, able to handle more than one operation in a non-sequential manner. Node.js is event-driven, defined by an unknown series of user-submitted events. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime, implemented in JS that can handle different events throughout the lifetime of its program. And finally, Node.js is designed to build network applications in the client-server architecture. Excellent.